Was it the
fabric
sun?
condition.
No, before that. I forgot the keyboard. It has something to do with the maintenance. I can't remember what it is. Okay, Sir Gary, would you like to stand beside me? I'd like to demonstrate something. How loving we can be.
I can feel we are not related.
I only dare to do this with Gary. Okay, we can stand here like this. In fact, we can stand the whole day. He's not going to die. All right?
Yes.
And I won't fall sick. We don't have any viruses that we can transmit. Okay? But when it comes to eating, there'll come a time when we want to go to the toilet. And it's going to be inconvenient, isn't it? Right? And sooner or later, you're going to want to stretch. I mean, it's like we're going to encumber each other, you know. So it's not comfortable, basically, right? But in the military, I think when you have this measurement, am I right? Yeah, you have this. Okay. So that actually, but we as humans, we interact. Even as friends, as close as we can be, there is a zone, a distance that it comes automatically. We don't have to measure, we know, you know? Okay? So, let's use that analogy for the bees. Okay? Now, the bees, as you can see, they swam. Alright? So, let's say you are swarming now, as what you saw, with your hands, the swarm ball. Okay? So, okay. How does it go?
No, we have a superhero there.
Okay. Alright? Okay. So, we have a distance that we would call the comfort zone for the bees. Right? Which is the size of the swarm ball. Because as the mother colony, I don't want my swarm to intermingle with your swarm. So that we have separate one, so that we avoid having invading swarms, we avoid having intermingling swarms, we avoid having taking over swarms and drifting swarms, right? So we have a zone that we call the comfort zone.
Zoning.
Okay, now it doesn't really matter, right? You can put it as close as possible, okay? Because you don't have the space. But if you are a beekeeper and if you care for the bees, you would want to give them the best comfort. If you put everything close like this, that means you don't care. Do you care for the bees?
Yes.
If you care, please put them in their comfort zone. That is caring for the bees. Can you get the
What about
concept?
the ones in the wild living in ferns? Like in one tree, there'll be 20 of them.
Where do you think the mother colony is? Those are sister colonies. Sisters, husband and wife can sit like that whole day. But if I sit with her, you see whether he will find or not. So, same thing, if you see in a tree, there are so many, they're all from the same mother. They're sister colonies.
One compound. Village.
If I'm his boyfriend, we can be like this the whole day. It's no problem.
Okay, I do.
You get the picture now? Alright. So these are bees coming, one coming from somewhere, one coming from God knows where, you know, and you're putting in the same place. Right? And that's what we want actually, because we don't want inbreeding. Right? As Dr. Rubik has explained. Right? It's better like this is coming from everywhere. But give them the comfort. Okay? Learn what is their comfort zone. It's very simple calculation. The comfort zone is one swarm ball. If you find the swarms are this big, then the comfort zone is this big. It is this by this. That gives you approximately 2 meters by 2 meters, 4 square meters. That is the comfort zone of one hive. Alright. Okay. So now, by the same token, alright, I'm going to take 4 meters by 4 meters, okay, which I shall call, because this I found in the mango farms, alright, the average canopy, alright, of one mango tree is about 4 square meters. Okay, 4 square meters of one mango tree, and one hive could cater for 4 mango trees. So which means 4 meters by 4, which gives you 16
square meters.
square meters.
Oh, but sorry.
Yeah, carry on.
Was this study on mango pollination, and the conclusion was 3 colonies of stingless bee per mature mango tree.
Yeah, what's the canopy of the mango tree?
I don't know. They just said.
We have studied, we were there, and we measured, alright? There are 20-year-old mango trees which are 150 meters square. 150 meters square canopy. Okay. What they studied on was the study on pollination. Fine. So what I'm giving you is we're trying to work out a formula.
Comfort zone.
Okay. 1, we have the comfort zone. Alright. 2, from what I saw and I've experienced also in mango farms in my country, also in other coconut plantations and all that, it is basically 4 by 4 meter, what we call as the forage zone. Alright? Okay. So now, from the forage zone, you add with the comfort zone, that is 16 plus 4, which is 20 square meters requirement space for every colony. Ideally, if you can provide 20 square meters for every colony, they will be happy. Okay? Then your friends will come and tell you, oh, you really care for the bees. Right? Now, these 20 square meters, when you have a few hundred, they can overlap. Doesn't mean they can overlap. Okay? Now you are calculating now 2-dimensionally. They live in a 3-dimensional world. They can fly up even 4 meters. Okay? So basically, this is just trying to work out within 1 acre how many, or rather, what's the density of colonies you can put in. So basing on this hypothesis, right? Assuming they need 20 square meters, okay? So how many 20 square meters comes into 1 acre?
10,000 divided by 20. About 10,000 yan. 10,000 divided by 20.
500 per hectare.
500
500
hives.
per hectare.
500 per hectare.
500.
And 1 acre is how much? How many?
10,000.
That's 1 hectare.
1 hectare.
Hectare, not acre.
So 1 acre?
Oh, okay. We use hectare. Hectares.
How many hectares is yours?
0.4 hectare.
Huh?
This
is
only 3,000 square meters.
1 acre is 0.4 of a hectare.
Yeah, I'm trying to get at
So
acres.
that's
He
4
talking about hectares when he doesn't even have 1 hectare.
In the Philippines, we use hectare.
Yeah, but have some common sense, use some logic. What? How many hectares do you have? Can you give me an answer?
I don't know the conversion to acres. I know hectares.
Okay, how many hectares do you have?
200 colonies per hectare.
Per acre. Or
per,
per
ac- per acre,
per
yeah.
Per
200,
acre.
yeah.
200 colonies per acre. Alright?
500 divided by
After this
4.
1 acre, 0.4 of a hectare.
Because you have 2.5 acres in a hectare, so you divide this by 2.5, you get 200. Alright?
200 per
Hectare.
we're
Acre.
talking about hectares or acre?
Acres.
Acre,
Acres.
200 per acre.
Acre.
Or 500
Okay, how many
per
hectares
hectare.
do you have?
500 per
Okay, I get your point.
Okay, so in determining the density of a farmland that you want to open up as beekeeping, okay? So if you have 1 hectare,
Yes, 10,000 square meters divided by 20 square
gives you
meters
500.
is 500.
Okay, so you can start with 500, but then again,
Be pasture.
okay, there is water body, there are certain areas you cannot plant anything, okay, and you are not leaving room for expansion. Okay, I would take half, 250 you start with in 1 hectare, so that you have room for water bodies and you have room for multiplication, because you are going to multiply, you are going to duplicate. So for 1 hectare you put in 250, you are in good hands. So that will give you the density. Right? So that's how to start a Meliponary. If you only have 1 acre, then you go with 200. Alright? Do you have 1/3 of a hectare?
As long as you have level 1 to 4.
Yes.
1/3. Okay. So 1/3 of 500 is how many?
Divide by 3.
100.
200. 150. More or less 150.
160, 170.
Yes.
Yeah, 170 times 3 is
More than.
510. Alright. So 170. You have that 170, you only start with 85. How many hives do you have?
I think it's around 150.
See? You're already reaching your maximum.
That's why I'm selling.
Yeah, he's got a point. I got no answer for that.
How about the neighbors?
Yeah, you must realize, okay, why we talk about biscuit, okay, and we talk about screening, not allowing them to go the other side, because you do not know what the neighbors are doing. They've been spraying in pesticide and insecticide. You got no control. You go, hey neighbor, you mustn't spray pesticide and all that. Then what are you going to control for them? You're going to find organic pesticide for them. It costs money. So your method is to communicate with your bees. Don't go to the neighbors. They are spraying. See what I mean? Okay. So never account for neighbor's land. Right? You don't know. You have no control over it. Only account for your own. Okay? And God will bless you. All right. So, any questions on this? Any questions?
No.
Okay. Okay. So now the final thing is just some scheduled activities. Okay, let's discuss what kind of activities you do and what kind of activities we should do. All right, or rather, we should think of doing. Okay. So if you have a Meliponary now, all right. So the first thing I was telling you, have a transit or sick bay. Right? The first thing you go back from this course, identify a portion which will be your transit or sick bay. Please do that. Alright? Always segregate your sick ones or your new ones. Okay? Do not put into the mass population instantly. Give it about 2 months. Alright?
What does this transit or sick bay look like? What should it look like?
Give it more flowers. As I said, that you want to have that 4 levels. At least the 3 lower levels, make sure they have it. Alright? Have some water body, or you have a pond like that, you know, and maybe things that just this morning we discussed what are the requirements. They want some minerals, they want some salts, not in large quantities, but think of it and make sure that it's for them there. Yeah. And okay, so that is that. So density, I've covered that. Now, scheduled activities. What do you do every day, ma'am? For the farm, I mean.
Make sure that I have lots of flowers. So.
Okay. That is part of the initial setup. Anyway, what about you? What would you do every day if you already have?
I have no time.
Ma'am, let's say you're taking over this Pias garden now. What are you gonna do every day?
Water the plants.
Okay, that's good. Which is what you're saying. Make sure this.
Walis mo na sa umaga.
Okay. Joe, what would you do every day? Any idea? Inspect the hive. Okay, inspection.
Daily.
Daily.
Edwin?
Why do
You know it. Huh?
Cleaning.
I have a good idea.
Some grasses are the ones that providing the forage for the bees. So maybe you don't want to.
Cut grass.
Maybe you want to fertilize your lawn or fertilize the weeds. Though they are weeds, you should be throwing away weeds. But for the bees, they are not weeds. It's food. Yeah. So you want to maybe provide some, but fertilizer will come on the weekly one. So you're not going to do every day fertilizing. Any suggestions? What to do on a daily basis?
Me.
Lot more flowering plants and put some in the pots and sell them.
That's for your pocket money. I'm talking about for the farm.
Yeah, planting more plants, sir. I'm planting.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. I'm talking of just suggestion. It's
So far,
okay.
what I do is I just go in the morning, make sure there are no lizards or
Yeah, okay. That's
ants,
inspection.
and
All right.
then I'm gardening the whole day.
Okay. That's good. Any suggestions? What to do daily basis?
Check the weather.
Yeah, you could that. Okay, the weather here is quite important because there may be certain things you want to do when it's raining, certain things you want to do when it's not raining. Alright? So when it's raining, you want to make sure the roofs are intact or the rain is not easily, splashed onto the hives, and rainwater can affect durability of your box, also humidity, too high humidity for the hive itself. Yeah? Mom Adley, any suggestions? What is your activities?
Sorry.
Product development.
Yeah.
Should make more products. I have a suggestion for you. I understand your role because that's why we went through the rules. Okay. My suggestion is here. All right. You will help. See, you will help your people who are employed or not.
I'm sorry. We
Yeah,
have a calendar.
Yes.
And we
Okay.
have
Because
plan
in the
for-
Philippines, different regions have different flowering times
Yes.
of different flowers.
Yeah.
Okay, and your typhoons may pass through without affecting certain islands and affecting some islands very badly. Yeah, so you need that calendar. So each island, in fact, need to have their own calendar, right? For January, what is flowering? Okay, So Lee, can you tell me for January what is flowering in your region?
Sometimes coffee, early flowering.
Okay, coffee. Mom, be merry. What is flowering in January?
Right now, I want to talk about right now. We have avocado flowering already, duhat, some of my calamansi, and also our bisnay.
This is what month?
Right now.
March.
Last January, our flowers stopped flowering because of the volcano.
Okay, so this is where you are going to do. All right, you have January, February, March. March, you already know what's flowering. January, you have no idea. So for next January, you got to start thinking what you're gonna have that flowers in January.
Right.
You must prepare yourself. All right. If it takes 3 months to flower, you must find something to plant by October, so that it flowers in January. So that's what. That's the only way that you can plan for the bees.
You should have a 1-year calendar.
Yes, definitely. Okay, we have our own. In West Malaysia is different. In East Malaysia is different. Indonesia have their own. In India they have their own. All right, and in fact, in the USB, all right, if you look under the India file, all right, so there is a calendar provided by a scientist from India. It's a beautiful, every month, what are the flowers that blooms. So you don't have to follow exactly, but you can do the same thing. You need to do that, right? So that will be part of your maintenance schedule. So Kevin, what flowers in Quezon City in January? Quezon, you're in Quezon Province or Quezon City?
Both.
You're in both.
But my bees are in Quezon Province.
Okay, so in Quezon Province, same as your province. Okay. Oh, you got coffee, right? What about Shibu?
All year coconut.
Okay, fine. So your calendar, you'll have like all year coconut, right? Then January, February, March, April, May, June, July, or up to June, which is your name. Yeah, so this is what you need to do. You need to list them down, right? Does it occur the same thing next month? No. If next month there's nothing that you can think of, you got to find. Look for something that blooms. Next month is what? April. Something that blooms in April. Okay? Or you can ask Mom April. No, I hope you understand what I'm trying to get at. Okay? This is something, it's a homework that you have to do. Because that is part and parcel of the maintenance of a Meliponary. Right? So that every month then you will know what to plant. What next? You know? And you can't plant something that's okay, coconut is coconut, you know. You can't be planting coconuts all the time. So you'll be planting some other plants. Now, how long does each plant last? Now, after blooming, what are you going to replace it with? What's in your calendar? What is going to be provided for the bees? Yeah. Also, you will include the weather for that month. Yeah. Okay, if you already identified the type of flowers for that month, you will put in the weather. Okay, early part of the month, middle part of the month, you know, what kind of weather, then you can decide how to prepare for the bees. Yes, sir. If you,
Move the bee.
why do you want to do that?
Because the plants are right over there in the next area.
Why can't you move the plants?
Because it's right there. You can move the plants, but you can move the bee.
No, the thing is, every time you move the bees, there is a damage recovery period that they have to go through. Whereas if you move the plants, no problem. No problem. Just move the plants.
It's the same concept as pollinating the crop pollination. Move the pollination.
Now, that is a different maintenance. That is pollination service. So when you get into that, that's a whole different ball game. All right. Now you got okay. Before I get, I want to get into that, but I got to get this cleared first. All right. Let me finish this. Okay. So you have weekly fertilizing, harrowing, Do you know what's harrowing?
Heroin, blood.
Harrow.
Drugs.
Yeah, you loosen up the soil. It's called
Harrowing.
tilling. Okay, you can call it tilling. You can call it harrowing. Yeah, all right. So monthly, you can look at your traps. Okay, so there'll be traps for predators. There'll be traps for getting more bees. Right. So that's what you call swarm traps. You have traps to deter birds. You have traps to catch frogs or catch lizards. All right. Bi-monthly would be mostly replanting, because the annuals will last only 3 months. So bi-monthly you got to look into replacing them. Also in fact there are many more which as you go along, you can just add in what are the activities that you do. And because if you're into harvesting, now in harvesting, how's your suction method going on? Is it working well? Suction?
Yes, but sticks too much
Yes.
time.
Yeah, it sticks. Okay. Now in honey harvesting, there are basically 3 methods of harvesting honey. Okay. First there's the prick and pour. And you prick all the honey pots and then you pour. Now what happens is when you prick all that, it all falls into the box. Now if the box is dirty, you get contamination. So when you pour, you get cloudy and murky honey, which they were selling at the social garden. Honey is murky. And true enough, I guess it was prick and pour. Okay. There's another one where you squeeze and strain. Yeah. And I think why Dog PJ, I'm going to speculate on a certain secret why Dog PJ won second prize. And I think I know why. He follows the squeeze and strain method, but he squeezes with a manual machine, with a presser, so it's not like
Only honey, only honey comes. Only honey comes out.
maybe I think that's why he's a squeeze and strain, and maybe he's got a good strainer as well.
Not strain, but rather the process is flotation.
Okay, there you go.
So
After
you get
flotation,
only
you
the-
decant the
Yeah,
residue at the top and
through
then get the
through a
pure honey at the
sole
bottom.
or whatever that has a nozzle at the bottom. Yeah, so that's decantering. Okay, so why I call it squeeze and strain is just to make it catchy. P and P, S and S. Prick and pour, squeeze and strain, right? So we can remember. So there's one more which is suction, right?
It doesn't work for us.
It can work if you are meticulous enough to clean every time you suck, because it's gonna get stuck.
Yeah,
Okay,
it does.
because your pots are very tiny. In our side, it's quite easy. It's better to use suction because the pots are bigger.
Yeah.
Right? Now, in prick and pour, there is number one, the murky looking. It's not very attractive, and number two, everything is all mixed up. Yeah. The pollen and the micropropolis is all mixed up, and you pour it out. And squeeze and strain, same thing. You got all. Sometimes the pollen is also squeezed together. Dog PJ will tell you it's very nutritious because he got extra pollen, but I will disagree with him because on one batch he gets 5% pollen, on the other batch maybe he gets 20% pollen,
Yeah, it's not.
another batch maybe 50% pollen. He can't tell. Okay, he's just gonna say, oh, it's got pollen, it's very good. Of course it's good, but it's inconsistent.
Yeah, but with the present pour, it's more or less consistent, unlike with the squeeze.
Yeah, so you tell that to dog.
Because I also do.
Now, you got to work out a way. You got to work out a way. Number one, Okay, number one, if you're gonna prick and pour, you got to make sure your container is clean.
Sterilized.
Okay,
No, we
your
don't
box
do
is
prick and
clean
pour.
with no
No,
rubbish.
yeah.
Alright? The problem is stingless bees have a group
You
of
cannot
workers.
guarantee you cannot guarantee cleanliness.
Stingless bees have a group of workers who is tasked to sweep the rubbish to one corner.